Welcome, everyone. Jared Ambeau here, owner of the Ambeau Law Firm and founder of Trial Alliance. This is the issue number 21, and the topic today is you're either growing or you're falling behind. Well, what does that mean? Well, what happened to just being, right? so it's funny, I had this discussion with a similar discussion with someone yesterday about this, and there's an idea that somehow we can just be, right? Like I can just be me, just stay where I'm at, go about my business, do my thing every day, and in doing so, just maintain my life. And isn't that sufficient, right? Isn't that sufficient? Ask yourself, is that sufficient? Isn't it sufficient just to stay the same? Is it sufficient just to maintain an even sort of way about life? And I would assert that it's not. I would assert that doing that, maintaining that even keel, maintaining that everyday thing, not expanding, not growing, not challenging, not self-examining, is in fact, in general, falling behind, right? And why is that? Well, I have a pad. So I'll tell you why I think that is. Because if like this is time and this is growth in life, the truth about like the regular world, right? The universe, the community, everything is that we're on this like steady rate of expansion, right? Like the universe, everybody, everyone, like the collective humanity, all of us, we're on this steady rate of getting better, of expanding. And so if you stay down here and just kind of stay the same, well, then you're sort of falling behind the curve, right? Falling behind. Now that may take, a year, right? 1 year. That may take 3 years. That may take 20 years for you to see how far behind you've fallen. But I'll tell you, in my professional environment, one of the things that I see happen around me is that I sometimes encounter older attorneys who've been practicing for 20 or 30 years, or 35 years, or 40 years even, and they are struggling in today's environment to pick up business, and that usually manifests itself with things like, well, it's just not the same as it used to be. You used to be just good at this, and people would come in your office and they would hire you. Yeah. I know. That's how it was 20 years ago. And guess what? It's not like that anymore. Because now we have the internet, and we have social media, and we have advertising, and we're reaching out, and we're giving people information at a much faster rate and a much more accessible rate. And if you're not involved in that, then guess what you're doing? You're falling behind, right? And so the question is, a little bit of growth, right, kind of stays on this line right here, and you kind of go with everybody else. And an accelerated expansion looks like this, right? This third line, right? So this is sort of regular growth, right? Regular life, regular asking yourself questions, regular work at it, regular sort of doing the minimum necessary to keep up. And this is acceleration, right? Like, how are you accelerating? Can you do this? I've done this before. I've been here before, right? I mean, I've been on this path. In fact, I'm kind of on this path right now with my body, right? Like on February of 2017, I decided I don't want to just be like everybody else. I don't want to just kind of do the thing with everybody and go along this process right here, right? I don't want to fall behind from my body. My body is actually doing like this every day, right? I'm deteriorating, unfortunately. When I get to about 163, I'm going to die. And so if I don't do something to keep it up here, I'm going to deteriorate every day, right? And so I got to keep going, right? So I'm on this huge path on my body, though. And I think you get my point here, is that you can't just kind of be the same, right? You can't just sort of stay even. Well, if I'm just being, that's sufficient. Well, unfortunately, that's not sufficient, because the universe, the world, the community, your small community, your family, your friends, perhaps your spouse, your wife, or your husband, everyone's expanding, right? Everyone's learning. Everyone's getting better. Everyone's pushing themselves and self-examining, right? And look, and if you're around a bunch of people who are not, well, perhaps you ought to be around some different people, right? Because, again, what's it worth, right? Socrates is said to have uttered two things on his deathbed. The first was that he owed a man about a chicken, and he wanted to square his debt and make sure that his debt was squared when he was dying. And the second was something about self-examination, right? He had previously and famously said, an unexamined life is not worth living. This is an ancient truth, right? This is 2,500 years ago, right? I mean, read some of Marcus Aurelius's meditations about what stands in the way becomes the way, right? our challenges, those are the fruit of life. Those are the things that make it wonderful. You come up against that wall, you come up against that edge of your universe. I mean, it's like picture day over here. So if I'm here and this is my known universe, my sort of universe of comfort, and I got some things in here I can do, like I can bench press 275 pounds, or I can do 25 burpees without passing out. Well, if I want to bench press 325 pounds, and that's out here somewhere, and I work and I come up against this wall right here, right? Come up against this collide with this difficulty, right? This edge of my known universe, the 275 pounds, right? It's right here on the edge, and I push past that. Well, then I expand my ability, right? And not only does it expand my ability to lift weight, but maybe there was something out here that had to do with my spiritual life that I've also gotten the possibility of doing, right? As I expand my life, as I ask myself questions, as I become more self-reflective and learn and expand my understanding of myself and my community, then I have the distinct possibility of considering things I didn't know I could consider before, of considering doing things and having the chance and opportunity to do some things that I didn't think were possible. That's an amazing realization. That is a phenomenal piece of information if you can get that, if you can really understand that. And I'm just beginning to understand it. And I was given that chart more than 20 years ago. Someone wrote that on a board in a personal growth seminar, and I watched it. And I'm still working on understanding what it means to see how powerful that is. Because as I've expanded my body and if I've expanded my physical, my ability to perform physically, lift weight and run and do all this work and do all this exercise, man, it's really given me a chance to see, like to step out and go, holy cow, man, I didn't think it was possible to look like this at 49 years old. I didn't think it was possible to feel like this at 49 years old. What else in my life do I think is not possible, but is actually possible? I was laughing with somebody the other day. My glasses, I'm actually able to take my glasses off and see. I can read. I can read my phone. I can read my watch. I can read the screen in front of me. I actually don't have to have those on except if I'm reading, like actual reading words on my desk or reading some words in front of me. That's remarkable. The truth is that my eyes are getting better. Now that sounds foolish to me, right? That sounds really nonsensical, right? How's my eyes are getting better? Well, that's because the hormones in my body, the chemicals in my body, the way that my body's functioning, the glucose and insulin balance in my body are all tightening up and going back a few years, right? I mean, it's really, my body's functioning like it did 10 years ago when my eyesight started going bad. And so that's a really interesting thing, right? I have expanded, and in that expansion, in my drive to expand and to be better and to do more, to understand more about me and more about life, to understand more about this core four area, right? These core four things that I do every day, these core four focuses I have every day. Body, being, balance, and business, right? My body, my spiritual connection, my wife and my children, and my business. As I expand in those areas every day, I do something with those four things every morning before I leave the house. Body, being, balance, business. I hit those core four, and I have a list of stuff I do every day before I leave the house. Every day I'm working. I'm hitting the little shots. I'm hitting the little singles. And it's making such a huge difference in my life. Such a huge difference because I'm working to expand. And so I was having this conversation with a good friend of mine yesterday about expansion and about, I get into conversations about what I'm doing in my life a lot these days because it's pretty obvious from the externally pretty obvious that I'm doing something. And so we're having this conversation yesterday afternoon, sad Saints party and Saints watching party. And the truth is that we were having this discussion. He was saying, well, what if I just don't feel like expanding? I get it. I really get it. I really get it. It kind of goes into what I was saying a couple of days ago about, my life's not broken. I'm not broken at all. In fact, I'm doing wonderfully. I'm successful. I have a beautiful wife. I have wonderful children. I have a great relationship. I'm handling my business. I have a very successful business. I'm just getting ready to make 10 years in my own law practice. We're doing great, really great. And so, why do I have to expand? I'm just rock and roll. Rock and rolling, man. I'm doing wonderful. But the truth is that life is about expansion. Like the humanity in me, the soul, the person that I am, is fed by expansion and growth. That's just the truth about me. I know that not just from the last 18 months of serious expansion, accelerated expansion, but from, stopping drinking 2 years ago and what that did for me when I quit drinking in December of 16. How my life changed because I was willing to look outside of my comfort zone. Or, when I joined the military 20 years ago, 18 years ago, when I joined the military in 2017 years ago. Oh man, almost 18 years ago now. Wow. When I joined the military after 9/11, what that meant to step out of my comfort zone and challenge myself to an entire new realm of possibility and understanding, a whole new ball game, man, and what that meant to me. And so as I've made these choices in my life to expand and I've made these choices in my life to grow, I know that's where the magic is. I mean, I know that is like the stuff, man. That is the marrow of life, indeed. And so the answer to the question is that you have to expand. For me, I have got to continue to expand. I've got to continue to grow. I've got to continue to learn and to move forward because I'm falling behind if I don't. I'm falling behind the people in my life. I'm falling behind the guy down the street or the woman down the street running the law office who's getting better at it than I am. Or I'm falling behind the guy working out in the gym who's there more than me and he's more committed to it, right? Or maybe I'm just falling behind having a wonderful relationship with my daughter because I'm not looking to expand and grow and understand that relationship. And I'm not looking to challenge the difficulties or face those things that are not great about it, right? And tell the truth, right? Tell the truth about those things that are not great and come up against that wall with her and say, hey, you know what? One of my 14-year-old daughter lives in New Orleans with her mom. And the other day, I text her a lot. I text her a bunch. And the other day I said, look, we need to do some more video talking to each other, I miss you. I miss you. I miss you when you're not around. And your little sister, she has a little sister, is 3 years old. Your little sister misses you. And she wants to see your face, and she talks about you when you're not there. And so, that wasn't a great thing, easy thing to say or an easy realization to have. That was uncomfortable. It's coming up against that wall, of comfort, that wall of, I don't want to talk about that, I don't want to tell Bella I miss her, But when I did, and I told her that, and we found a solution, And when she came in town this weekend, we went on daughter date. We had lunch, and then we went shopping, and we had a great time together. Because I'm willing to see, you know what? I may have had a lot of work to do this weekend, and I had some work to do this weekend. I had some homework to do. I had some work to do. And the truth is that I had to take the time for her. I had to step out of my comfort zone, and I'd go to do what I always do, which is do homework or do work for my office. And I had to give my daughter my time. I had to gift her. I think we spent 3.5 hours together. And that was meaningful. That was a step forward for me. And hey, maybe the guy I was talking to I know him, he has a wonderful relationship with his children. He's a fucking great dad. I mean, a lot of what he does as a father is kind of the things I'd like to do as a father. So maybe that's not his area of growth, right? Maybe that's not your area of growth. Maybe your area of growth is the bank account, right? Or maybe your area of growth is running that business better or being a better employee. Or maybe it's physical. Maybe you need to get in the gym. Or maybe you need to really cut out that, all the bread that you're eating. I mean, whatever it is, right? Wherever the growth is, wherever the challenge is at that particular moment, Again, I don't have to be broken. I don't have to be broken to see that. I don't have to be broken to expand. I don't have to be broken to push the edge. And so for me today, I have got to grow and expand. And if I don't grow and expand, then I'm falling behind. And that's the message of the day. I really appreciate you guys listening. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all tomorrow.